It is my privilege to introduce to you the newest members of Coach Larry Fedora's staff. And I'm going to introduce both of them, ask them both to come on up here and join me on the stage, and then we'll have a couple of questions for each of them. But this first person I want to introduce is Carolina's new defensive coordinator. He's got degrees from the University of Florida and Clemson, and he has won 2 national championships. First as Mack Brown's defensive coordinator at Texas, and then as the head coach at Auburn. Please join me in welcoming to Chapel Hill, Coach Gene Chizik. Carolina's newest defensive assistant coach graduated from Virginia Tech, got his master's degree from Kansas. He's coached at Kansas, at LSU, and at Nebraska, where, as Jones mentioned, he's been the defensive coordinator for the past 3 seasons. Please welcome to Chapel Hill, Coach John Papuchis. Coach Chizik, we'll start with you. You spent the past few seasons working in the media with the SEC Network, ESPN, and Sirius XM Radio. When you decided to get back into coaching, you chose Carolina. Why?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Larry Fedora and myself, we go back a long way. And I've got just such a high level of respect for him, not just as a football coach, but as a man, and what he represents and what he stands for. That was number one. Number two, I want to go someplace and win a championship. I tell everybody that I was working for ESPN and doing radio. I had the best job in America. It was the easiest job I ever had because when you're wrong, nobody cares, right? But one thing that I did when I did my homework and I did my research, this university is all about academics and student athletes going out in the world and becoming great citizens and great people and great contributors to society. So I want to be a part of that. And again, if I didn't think that championships were possible, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Amen. Coach, your last stint as an assistant coach was for someone very familiar to Tar Heel fans, former Carolina and Texas head coach Mack Brown. What does Coach Brown share with you about his time here in Chapel Hill?
You know, Coach Brown obviously is one of I look to him as a great role model, a great friend. And his time here at Chapel Hill, when he looks back, him and his wife Sally, when they look back on their period of time here, you can just see him smile. And just everything that he talked about this university, the same things that I just talked about. The stress and the importance of academics, the stress and the importance of athletically, top to bottom, no matter what sport it was, that's important here. They love that. They love the community. More than anything, they love the people. And again, we could have talked for hours and hours and hours about Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina. So he was a big influence on me. And again, it was great to see him because he was in town last week. But he was a great influence and had nothing but the best possible descriptions and best of everything about University of North Carolina.
You've had quite a record as a defensive coordinator. What is your overall philosophy on defense, and what schemes do you plan to use here in Chapel Hill?
Well, you know, just philosophically for me, you know, it's not always about the scheme. I think that, you know, when you put a defense on the field or you put an offense on the field, you're painting a picture. You're an artist. Every player is putting his resume on tape. He's putting it on film every single time he steps out there. So it really doesn't matter what defense you run. Your resume starts with you being a very physical, dominating, violent within the lines type of defense. If you can't do that, you're in the wrong sport. So when you turn on the film, our job is to make sure that that's what the opponents see. The next thing is that you want guys that are very selfless. You want guys that their number one goal is to play within the structure of what we're asking them to do. This is the greatest team sport in America. And there's 11 people out there that all have a job. and one of them can't break down. Well, part of that is not worrying about who gets the credit. Part of that is worrying about doing your job and being selfless doing it. So that's what I want people to see. I want to see people out there flying around, having fun, playing physical, playing a dominating style of defense, regardless of what we call. Coaches can call really, really bad defenses and really, really bad plays, and great players who love it down to the depth of their soul, they can make it look really good. That's what I want people to see when they watch Carolina defense.
In your 2 seasons away from the sidelines, in addition to all the work in the media, you also served the NCAA on a committee about college football recruiting. What are some things that you learned from that experience and those 2 years away from being on the sidelines?
Yeah, it was really interesting. The NCAA asked me to come in and sit on a committee with different athletic directors, commissioners of different leagues, other former coaches as well. And basically, we were trying to reform the recruiting process because everything is about the quality of life for the student athlete first when it comes to recruiting, and then the coaches. What's going to make everybody's job easier? What's going to make sense as we've gone down this recruiting path in terms of early signing dates and things of that nature? And what they wanted me to come on there for was to really give them kind of a, you know, I've been in the weeds, and I've been on those roads recruiting, and I try to give them a reality, a very real perspective on the way recruiting really happens. And I was trying to give them a perspective on how this can be easier on the student athlete first, his high school coaches, his parents, his family, because those people on a daily basis, it becomes pretty taxing at times. So it was really, that's kind of where we started, and I was just really appreciative that the NCAA gave me that opportunity.
Coach Papuchis, for you, when you were named the defensive coordinator at Nebraska 3 years ago, you were the youngest defensive coordinator in the entire country. What has enabled you to rise through the ranks of college coaching so quickly?
Well, you know, I think the number one thing has been that I've been really blessed to be around some of the best defensive coaches in college football. You know, I feel like that each step of the way, the guys who were able to mentor me and took me under their wing really invested in me as a football coach. And, you know, guys like Will Muschamp, Nick Saban, Bill Young, Tom Hayes, and obviously Coach Bo Pelini have all kind of fostered my mentality on the defensive side of the ball. And I've just been so blessed to be around guys that are so good at what they do, that have invested in me so that now I can translate that onto the players.
Tell us a little bit about that philosophy. What is your philosophy of what makes a great college football defense?
Well, you know, it's exciting to me the very first time I sat down with Coach Chizik because, you know, the number one thing that I think that you got to have kids that play with passion. You got to play hard. You got to play tough. You got to play smart. And if you have those ingredients, throw the scheme out the window. If you've got guys that love playing ball, that fly around and have a little dog in them, you have a chance to be successful.
We've heard Coach Fedora always talk about game-changing plays and special teams. In 2010, you were named the special teams coordinator in the country. What are the keys to playing great special teams in college?
Special teams is unique because it encompasses every player on your football team. You got offensive players, you got defensive players, you got skill guys, you got linemen. Everybody's invested in the cause of special teams. And to me, that in a lot of cases defines who you are as a football team. And, you know, when Coach talks about game-changing plays, it's a guy that's willing to lay it on the line and give a little bit extra, little bit of effort that might be outside of his position that he was recruited to play, but is willing to do it for the team. You know, nobody on the football team was recruited to be an R3 on kickoff. You know, they were recruited as a safety or as a linebacker, or as a wideout, or as a tight end. But for the team, they're going to run down on kickoff and they're going to give everything that they have to give for that unit. And that, to me, when you have the special teams part of your team going, that means you got something special going within your program.
Quick question for both of you. And believe me, I know from the moment you've gotten to Chapel Hill, you guys have been on the road recruiting. Have you had any time to visit with the current players? And if you did, what was your message to them when you met them?
You know, there's a couple of the kids that we actually recruited at the last place I was that I had a little bit of a relationship with. Every player that I've come into contact with since I've been here is eager and excited and ready to roll. And to me, that's the most encouraging sign, is that you got guys that it's January, it's early February, and they just can't wait to go play ball again. And, before we know it, spring ball is going to be here. And we got a lot of work to do between now and then. But the fact that we got so many guys who are excited and energized by the fact that we have a change on defense, I think is a good sign for all of us.
I was able to actually have one team defensive meeting because I just was trying to put names with faces. And really the message to those guys was very simple. Everybody is starting out on a level playing field. And I wanted them to understand that, as a new coach coming in, I'm not judging anybody on what they've done or what they haven't done. Everybody's starting on like I said, a level playing field. For the guys that have played, they got to earn it because we don't inherit positions here. And for the guys that haven't played, I wanted them to be encouraged because everybody's starting from scratch. And the bottom line is no matter how skilled you are, no matter how great you were in high school, no matter how great you played last year, no matter whether you didn't play at all last year, the bottom line is that everybody's got to work towards one common goal. And we will be relentless in that pursuit. We will not back off of that. There's going to be one way. And like I told them, I said, you are what you repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, becomes not a single act, but a habit. And I believe that, and I live by that. You are what you repeatedly do. And if they don't repeatedly strive for excellence every day, they won't be excellent. So that's our goal. We want to repeatedly do everything every day to win that day and become excellent at everything we do, and everything else takes care of itself.
Last question for both of you, and we are so thrilled that both of you are now Tar Heels. There's some other Tar Heels coming too. You guys got some big families with 3 children and 4 children respectively. Tell us a little bit about your families, Coach.
Well, I've got 2 beautiful twin daughters that are juniors in high school. Matter of fact, I was blessed enough that Coach Fedora let me go home. They both got inducted into the National Honor Society last night, which was great. And I was very blessed to be able to go home and see that. And then I have a 14-year-old son who's in 8th grade, loves football, loves baseball, and a beautiful wife who I've been married to now going on 18 years. And they're not with me here right now because it's going to be a little bit of a transition, but I'm just blessed to have such a special family and blessed to be able to join another family as well.
JP?
Well, we got a busy household back home. I got 4 little ones that are 6 and under. I got a 6-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, a 3-year-old daughter, and a newborn baby daughter that was born the first week of the college football season this past year. And, so my wife's a saint. She's taking care of them, but they're going to be out here pretty quick because she's not going to let me off the hook that easy. But real quick, I got to tell you a funny story. My son is a little mini me now. He loves sports. He loves football. And last summer we were on vacation, and we went to a restaurant, and in front of the restaurant they had those little machines where you could put a quarter in and you get a little toy out or whatever. This happened to be one of those machines that had all football helmets. It had NFL teams, it had college teams, and it had probably 500 different helmets in this little machine. I gave him a quarter, he put it in, and as luck would have it, he pulled a Tar Heel helmet out. And that day he asked me if we were ever going to coach the Tar Heels, and I kind of laughed and said, maybe one day, who knows. And he brought that to me in December and said, Dad, I think we should go to the Tar Heels. I said, well, maybe you're right, my man. So it's funny how things play out that way.
Thank you, Coach Chizik. Thank you, Coach Papuchis. We are absolutely thrilled to have both of you here in Chapel Hill.
Thank you.